Cheryl's favorite one that comes off of that with living with Bud is that Bud always slept with the window open, and more than once she would wake up with snow on her face from the window being open in the middle of the winter, sleeping with Uncle Bud. Also, she used to have fake pet rats called Ralphie, and she would use strings or rubber bands or whatever it was as a young child that would represent Ralphie. And her and Bud had a Ralphie game going to where sooner or later Ralphie would get stepped on by Bud and sent away. And Cheryl remembers on her 18th birthday that her birthday present for Bud was a sweatshirt that said, "I always felt bad about Ralphie." Of course, everyone knows the presents at Christmas and how much he put into that, and so on and so forth. Another one I found cute for sure was Bud had talked Cheryl into the concept that she could speak to Smokey the dog. He could speak to Smokey the dog, and so he would carry on conversations with the dog and then give Cheryl what Smokey was thinking about. And that went on for quite some time until they had a whole special language kind of going, and so on and so forth, and I think that's cute. Also, in Canada, the fishing trips to Canada, I know made impacts on all of the kids that were there. And singing in the fishing boat, going out to dinner, of course, with Bud and Sarah and our daughter, spilling her drinks all over the table. Even the last time we went out together, it happened again, so there we go. And of course, as Bob and others have said, you always laughed. You always left thinking about something, and I miss that about it. So here we go. Cheers.
Good job, honey. Thank you.
I am Tasmin Duncan. I'm their daughter. What I remember about my Uncle Bud was whenever I could come out, I could count on three things. The first, when I went over to his house, there would always be plenty of candy for me to eat. And being a chubby child, that was like the most wonderful thing in the world. The second thing I could count on is there would be toys everywhere that I could play with, and I always loved that. And the third thing is that Uncle Bud would always take me out to dinner with my mom, any restaurant I could want, which for me was always Red Lobster. I was an expensive little child. But I loved going out to dinner with Uncle Bud because he was probably the only adult who treated little 6-year-old me as an adult. He was willing to speak about politics, about science, about philosophy, and I don't know many adults who would do that with a 6-year-old. But I tended to try to steer the conversation that way because you get the best stories and also in Uncle Bud's case, the best jokes. But one memory that really sticks out to me the most is I was at this nice restaurant with Uncle Bud sitting at the table, and he just told a joke, and I think I was laughing, and I knocked my drink onto myself. I was a rather clumsy child, and he made a ton of jokes about that, of course, and I ended up having to borrow Aunt Sarah's pants. So that was an interesting night. Here I was in this nice upper top with a pair of blue jean shorts on the bottom. And then the last time we went out to dinner, here I am, 15-year-old me, and Uncle Bud is telling a joke, and what do? I spill my drink against myself again. So I suppose the moral of this story is that people, memories, and love are timeless, as is clumsiness.